Yes, guys, another episode of Beyond the Posing with the posing pro herself, Emma Hyman. Emma, another weekend. I believe this time we had 14 Fit Model overall winners.
Wow, that's a lot. Like, it's exciting because it just means the category is going to grow so quickly, right?
Yeah, exactly. We also had our third Fit Model IFBB Pro. She came from Brazil, won
We
over
did.
the Arnold. So many congratulations to Maria. I think that's how you pronounce her name. It's Brazilian, so not sure. But we're gonna go straight into the breakdowns today. We're also going to include a couple of different categories at the end. We're gonna bring up PCA. PCA have kickstarted their season, so we've got a
Yeah.
few videos we're gonna take for the PCA Scotland season. But because Fifth Model is the most popular thing at the moment and it's something that you guys are loving, we're gonna start in there anyway. And we're gonna start with a video we just literally posted a moment ago. So I think this is gonna be Gabriella. So let me just
Amazing.
let's grab her video up as well. Here we go. So where is she? Where is she? Where is she? Here we go. Can you see this?
Yeah, I've got her on my phone as well, so I can see her properly.
Perfect. So I'm gonna play this out, and just so you guys know, what we try to do here, we want to look at the posing. Emma critiques it, but the whole point of it anyway is just to completely be constructive. And if we're picking people here, it's because they're a class winner, they're an overall winner. So if they've done the job, they've got the first place trophy. So many congratulations to everybody with the cover today. And what we're also looking forward to is hopefully educating the people who watch it, and also maybe those who are actually being in that we're actually covering through the posing videos here. So I'm just going to explain a bit more about Gabriella here. So she won the Champion Muscle Classic, the fifth model overall title. She's coached by James for Atlas, and James is a killer when it comes to pro cars over in America and worldwide, to be fair, in the female division. So Gabrielle was definitely one that stood out quite a bit because I've been reading the comments. It's been super positive about her. People love the physique that she's brought
Yeah.
for the fit model division. Now, I'm really keen, Emma, to hear your thoughts about the posing because I know you've seen this video a few times now.
Yes, I have. I think that her posing is really, really nice. You can obviously see why she's the overall winner. There was just like a few corrections that I would have just made or I'd play around with just to really make the figure drop into that fit model criteria. Now, we know from what we've seen so far that we don't want to present a stature or a physique that is carrying too much muscle overall. And I don't think Gabriella is. I just think through the lower half, she's a little bit dominant through her poses on that bottom half of the physique. So I think the poses themselves look great. The fundamentals are really there, but it would just be fine tuning for me. So maybe in the front pose, she's playing around with the foot positions to see if she could just create a slimmer, longer line through the thighs. I mean, she's got a stunning shape. But we do know also that Gabriella has competed in the bikini division previously, but she was too small in that lineup. So, and I do think I've read as well that there was some feedback from the judges, just to bring the legs down just a little, make the waist a little bit tighter. And I think that's correct. But overall, posing wise, so yeah, I would maybe play around with the standing leg, the toe position, when we turn the toe out in the front pose or when we on the standing leg at all, what it does is it showcases more quad sweeps. If you think about, you turn the toe out, everything else turns out going up the frame as well. So if we're externally rotating the left quad, and let's talk about Maria, that gives more quad sweep. So we don't if you've got dominant quads, you don't necessarily want to showcase that to the judges. So that's where we really need to make sure that the posing falls in line with the criteria as well. So this means that the foot position, what you see on one person, might not be reflected in what someone else does as well. So it's making sure that the posing really fits you and not just what you see somebody else doing.
I just want to bring up one thing to you, and I know we spoke about eye contact when you come on the stage. Here, Gabriella looks fixated on where the videographer is. You see a little glance as well to the side, but a lot of the time it's very much linear, straight on. Is it something that you feel that could also help with the interaction with a judging table. We know a judge's table can tend to be very long. Eight
Yeah.
judges across
Yeah.
the entire board. Is it important to maybe maneuver that eye contact rather fixated, dead central?
For sure, yeah. Now, obviously, she's stunning. The face looks great. She's working a small smile there. But yeah, I do completely agree. I think that if you can like move the eyes and use your eyes to connect with the judges, it's going to just make you engage more. It's going to make you a little bit more enjoyable to watch if you really look at the pros. And this is what I always say: go and look at the pros. Look at how they're connecting with the audience and the judges. So you're not just fixated on one. And like you said, Suki, that judges table, it's long. So don't just focus on that center judge. Connect with ones at either side. And that's where, if you look at the bikini division, the pro lineup, you'll see especially Laura Lee does it really well. When she walks forward, she flicks the eyes side. And that just adds to your overall presentation and your presence on stage as well.
Love that. What rating do you give it then? Let's kick it off.
So I think she's got really nice flow. I do think there could just be some areas that could just be ironed out a little bit more. But I'm going to give Gabriella a B plus.
Gabriella, B plus, very well done. And you know what? What it tells me is it's just heating up for the first pro qualifier of the year that takes place in Pittsburgh. Well, first pro qualifier, the first US pro qualifier when it comes to fit model, and we're seeing more and more overall winners making our lineup very stellar. So look forward to see what
Yeah.
happens next. Next up, we've got Jen. Now, Jen took the overall title in Arizona. This is Sydney Gillen's show, Triple Dynasty. As you can see, the content done by the famous Gilco, absolutely crystal clear. Love the work he does. It's absolutely amazing. So we got Jen, very short video, but once again, I believe this is her first time competing in fit model, as a lot of competitors are. Arizona's first fit model overall winner. Congratulations. Emma, you've had a look at this one already. You've kind of assessed it from pros. The video I will be getting out very soon. Talk to me about Jen.
Okay, so I think with Jen, firstly, really great stage presence. Transitions look really natural and fluid as she's moving from front to back. Nothing looks like she has learned it from someone else. It all looks organic to her and how she moves, which is a massive tick box for me. So the main thing for me would be the front facing pose. Because she is pulling up through the midsection, it's almost like she's slightly holding her breath through that front pose. It kind of doesn't allow her to sit into the lower half of the frame. So, and also it brings the left lat out just a little bit too much. It's so super important in this division that you can see as she lengthens through the waist, it lifts up through the chest and the shoulder as well. And it just brings out a little bit too much lat for me on that left side. We've got to remember, we're not looking for it's not an aggressive lat spread, but you would never want your front lat to go out further than your glute. This is really important because, of course, in the bikini division, whether it is fit model or whether it is bikini, you always want the glute to be the most prominent part of the frame. Okay. I also think similar to Gabriella, there's a little bit more muscle density overall on her frame, but on the lower half as well. So it's really about creating longer, leaner lines through the bottom half. And in order to do that, sometimes again, you've got to play around with the foot position, maybe potentially spiking the front heel off the floor. We've seen a lot of girls doing this where they spike the front heel off and they allow the front knee to roll inwards, which essentially takes off some of the size of the quad. So yeah, so I also think, overall condition as well would play a huge part in this. So maybe with a little bit more body composition, the frame might just sit into those poses a little bit better. But she's carrying a fair amount of muscle for this division, in my opinion.
I want to bring up a split here, and you can see as she points up and when she leaves, we see a bit of variations when it comes to that. It was just something that I caught my eye.
The
Some
sign
people
off, yeah.
extend the arm a lot, some people do it a different way. She does it where obviously it's not gone all out, so it's only a little bit. What is your thoughts when it comes to that kind of little maneuver as people leave the stage?
I actually really like what she does. I think it looks really subtle. It looks natural for her. I don't think there's any right and wrong way. I would say you don't want to fully extend the arm and have it lingering up there It wants to be small, cute, and quick as you sign off, not rushed. It's not rushed there. She does a lovely little leg flick at the end as well. And I think that just adds to her own personal presentation. So I'm here for it. I like it.
Perfect. And the final rating?
Oh, I am gonna actually give her a B plus as well
Excellent.
because I think the posing itself is really, really nice.
Perfect. Jen, congratulations. I look forward to seeing what happens next for yourself. Next, we go over to, I believe it's Ohio. So this is Shea. She won the Ohio Natural Championship. So this was the only natural show taking place over in the US. Sponsored by Mutant. Once again, footage is via Gilco. So well done, Shea. I don't think I've sent you this one yet, but this is the first time you're actually seeing her. Won it overall. Many congratulations. Looking forward to seeing what happens next, especially as we know the Pittsburgh show is not too far away. That's where they're awarding two pro cards for Fit Model. Emma, talk to me about Sheer.
Yeah, so for me, Shea is hitting this front pose in a way where it's not excelling her physique. So I don't know if we can get a pause on that yet. So um when we allow, obviously we've talked about spiking the heel. If you can pause it on that front pose, it would be amazing.
Oh, I'll come back to it.
Um so when we spike the front heel and you lift up then the front glute as well, what you're doing is you're making the waist look thicker here because you're twisting the front glute so far forwards and lifting the hip. It's throwing the midsection off. We're pushing the ribs out, and we're then creating a curve through the entire spine. And we just don't want this because if we were to put this pose next to one of the other girls that we've just looked at, you're getting a completely different front pose. And I think this is what we're maybe going to see, where there's going to be a little bit of a mixed bag until we really see that pro lineup and identify what the judges want to see. But when you twist the hips that much to the side, when you lift up the front glute and then you push out the ribs, all you're doing is making the waist look thicker than it actually is. And you're not seeing what I would call like an hourglass shape. If you cannot see your back hip coming around to the front, then you are showcasing too much of the side of the waist. We want to see that nice V taper and really can't see much of the right side of the body. I feel like if she was to apply these corrections, her frame would look completely different. Obviously she still took the win, which is amazing, but these corrections are what are really going to make her be competitive in another lineup. The transitions, the arm movement is a little bit flighty for me. The arms are moving around a little bit too much. We want to make those arm movements a lot more subtle, a lot more elegant, keeping them low, not letting them flap around too much. And that's just what is going to refine the posing and make it look more professional.
Think a key thing as well with her smiling throughout, and we know how much we
Yeah.
love to see somebody enjoy them, see someone be happy, and it still looks like very linear focus what she's looking forward. I know you like the idea that you are interacting with the entire lineup, but as you can point it out, these shows where we don't know the full aspect of the volume of competitors, subtle little mistakes when it comes to posing that may not bring out the best of your physique can maybe help you, you can get away with it. But when it comes to the pro qualifiers, when you're up against 10, 15 other overall winners from different shows all across the country, that's where those little subtle differences can make the difference. What is your final
Absolutely.
rating for her?
So I'm going to go in with a D plus. Just because there was so much, which you know what, for someone like me, a posing coach, is great to get my hands on somebody like this because when you create the changes, the corrections, it totally changes the physique. So I think with some the changes to the front pose, also the transitions and the rear pose, which I know we haven't touched on, refining all of that would take her physique as well up and up to a B or an A.
And what's exciting, Shia, is you got the overall win. So that you already create history yourself by winning that title in Ohio, and now it's always up. And I think I can see one of the comments. This was a true novice debut, so I think this may have been your
Wow.
first show. So
Okay.
congratulations.
Well, first show, congratulations, amazing showing. But this is where the hard work really begins.
That's it. I'm gonna jump over.
Yes.
to Australia. Now, this is a comparison in I think it might be in the overalls or it could be the class, but I think maybe just be one class. This is obviously for fifth model. The girl on the
Open class.
right
Yeah.
is your winner. She's your
Yes.
overall winner. You're going to see her move to the center. And while you're going talking, I'm going to quickly grab her details, but I completely forgot her
Can we
name.
pause it here?
Oh, hold
Because
on,
this is
where
a
is it?
great example.
There
Okay.
we go.
So, what I want everyone to look at in this lineup, and this is why I love critiquing a lineup because you get all of the girls next to each other, so you can really see the differences in the posing. We have got our winner on the far right. Okay, so she's dropping into the back hip, she's rotating the hips around to the right, she's squeezing that left glute, she's allowing that left knee to roll inwards, so she's got a longer, leaner line, a longer line through the leg on the left side, engaging the glute. The lady in the middle, she's high on top of her left toe, almost like she's really extending and pointing her toes like a ballerina. And then she's lifting up through the left leg, through the left hip, which is then throwing off the hip line. And this is what we, for me, essentially don't want to do because I just don't think it emulates what we want to see in the fit model front pose.
So I'm gonna press play now. So this is
Yeah,
Larissa. So Larissa is the overall winner who I think you're about to see probably move to center in a
yes.
moment. But this is only the second ever football lineup in Australia. So we're gonna let's play out. There she goes. She's going to go for
There
center,
we go.
and now
Yeah.
they're gonna perform the full comparison. So I'll throw it back to you, Emma.
Let's pause that there. Let's also just look at the difference in the foot placement between the lady that's now on the far right and obviously our winner that's in the middle. Lady in the far right, she has taken her presented leg all the way forwards in front of her. So there's not really any depth, any width to that front pose, which makes her look very narrow through the lower half. And she's also twisting the hips so much to the side that again, we're getting that thicker waist angle. You really want to bring your hip bones and not completely to the front, but we want to have them just off to the diagonal, just slightly. Also, because she's lifting upwards through that left hip so much, it's distending the midsection as well. So if you compare first and second, the two ladies in the blue bikinis, then you should be able to spot the difference. And that's what I always encourage people to do. Spot what the winner's doing, look at the other ladies. What are they showcasing that I'm not showcasing?
Let's go back to play and see this through as I turn to the rear.
As we turn to the rear, I want you to watch the lady in the purple bikini. Look at the glutes. Let's keep moving. The glutes are soft. This is a huge mistake throughout any division. You never want to turn and face the rear and forget about your lower half. It's so super important that we consistently lift the glutes, whether that's pushing backwards through the hamstrings, whether it's arching through the back, whatever is best for your physique, but never allow those glutes to drop because you immediately as a judge, if I have an athlete that looks spectacular to the front and they turn and face the rear and they forget about their rear, it's just not a good look. No one can stand with a natural stance and have lifted glutes. Maybe for a wellness girl, but you always need that arch and that tilt through the pelvis when you, as the second you step to the rear.
Play this through.
Yeah. You can see our winner has a really beautiful frame. We can see a nice top line. It's tapered down. The waist looks tiny from this angle. Transitions are nice. She's smiling. She's whipping the hair around as she walks to the front. The walk is confident, very fit model as she walks forwards as well. Smiling, engaging. I feel like as well, I wonder if she's been on stage before because she definitely has that grace and that elegance of being an experienced athlete.
Let's have a quick little look if she has. I mean,
But
all it is, I know she's been involved. She's done a lot of modeling in the past, but it
okay.
doesn't
It
look like she's
really
ever
plays true to
done.
the category, doesn't it? When we're coming across athletes that
Hmm.
do come from a modeling background, the skills are super transferable. So I'm excited for this as well.
Why would give the overall winner a rating based on
Yeah,
how she performed herself in the comparisons?
yeah, I really like her. I'm gonna go with an A minus because I feel like there's always room for improvement, and I would definitely play around with that front pose a little, but On the whole, A minus, lovely front pose. We can see the taper. We've got glute pop constantly. She's smooth through her transitions. The walk is great. The face is good. I like her.
Excellent. And towards the back end of April is the first pro qualifier for Australia. So we know we got Charlie who won her overall last weekend. We got Larissa this weekend. So it all leads up nicely to see who's going to be the first Australian to be the fifth model IFU Pro. What we're going to do now, we're going to jump to another federation over UK. It's a
Yeah,
federation called the PCA. You might see some different poses here, but we are going to go straight into the PCA Scotland show. And here we've got Kennedy. Kennedy is the ladies bikini short winner and also the overall bikini Scotland winner, coached by Vaughan Wilson. So very congratulations to yourself, Kennedy and Vaughan. So look, Emma, you know PCA throughout. You've it's one of the pro cards you've achieved back in
yeah,
your competing days.
yeah.
Talking about Kennedy.
Yeah, fantastic physique. Obviously for those athletes that are watching that don't know the PCA, it's a slightly different posing criteria. They like a little bit more of an aggressive posing style. They like to see a full X-ray. We do a front facing pose, we do a power pose. Now, Kennedy's posing is really, really lovely. The one thing I would just think that would immediately bring her stagecraft and presentation up is the face. Just maintaining more of a smile, keeping the eyes lifted a little bit more. You can see there's moments where she's switching on and she's switching off. Okay. So it's really important we work on that to just maintain engagement, like we've just talked about. Let the eyes flick towards the judges, keep the face alive because that keeps the energy alive. I love her whip around from the back all the way to the front. This isn't easy to do, so this looks really, really nice. But on the whole, really good. The first side facing pose that we see when Kennedy gets to the front, I would like to see a little bit more balance between the upper and the lower in the pose. She looks a little bit quad dominant when she looks a little bit lat dominant when she gets into the first side pose, Suki. So if you let that play, and let's just see Kennedy here in this side facing pose. Yeah, you can see this is, and I've touched on this before, the lat is coming out more than the glute.
Yeah.
So I would just play around with this. Obviously, the arm is lifted quite high, which you do see quite often in the PCA, but my posing style, I like the arm to be a little bit lower. But what I would have done was here, maybe bring the foot placement in a little bit closer or gotten Kennedy a little bit higher on the back foot. So she was tucking the right heel under a little bit more, so the back leg, and then just trying to push backwards through the glutes a touch more to see if we could bring a little bit more balance between upper to lower. If that didn't work, I would have actually explored the alternative, the standard front side pose, which would be with the feet together, front toe tucked under. So always play around to make sure you're executing balance. But I mean, look at that lat spread from the rear. Super impressive. I think for Kennedy, it's just making sure that she showcases balance from upper to lower. Her upper is very dominant, so just making sure through her posing that she's creating heaps of volume and shape through that lower half. So she doesn't look a little bit too dominant through the upper.
Let's give the rating. Our first rating to a PCA overall winner of 2025. This is the benchmark. Let's hear it.
I'm going to go with a B plus.
Perfect. Kennedy, huge congratulations to yourself. I look forward to seeing what happens next. But also, you awarded a PCA Pro card. This was the first PCA Pro qualifier of the year and the first one we did in Scotland. We're now going to move over to men's physique, something we haven't actually covered for a while. So we've got Dean Nicholson, men's physique short class winner, and also the PCA overall men's physique champion. Got his pro card as well. So many congratulations. You're now a PCA pro. Talk to me about Dean's posing.
Okay, so the first thing I noticed with Dean's posing is he's got fantastic flow. The transitions are really, really great. The only thing I would critique is that when he comes to the front, he hits his front pose. As he transitions, he moves off his square, off his X. If you watch the camera, the cameraman's got to follow him and come back. And if we're just looking to execute excellence, we want to just make sure that we are doing everything perfectly. So I would just refine this. If you press play, you say you see him move off the X again. Big step backwards. Continue. poses to the side, and then he comes back to center again. So what I would just do is working on keeping his movement directly underneath him. There's not really a massive need to take big steps when you're on stage. We want to keep our footwork underneath us as much as possible. His poses are great. Its transitions are also great. All I would do is in this front pose is maybe just bring that foot placement a little bit closer together. The foot position's quite wide. You can see here when he stands in this pose, he's really extending backwards on the right foot. I just think we can bring that a little bit closer, make that lower half a little bit more closed so he's not pushing backwards through that right leg. But yeah, the main thing for me here is the transitions and the movement, not stepping away from that X so much.
So taking all that into account, what rating would we give Dean?
I'm gonna give him an A minus because the transitions, as a men's physique competitor as well, sometimes it's just a little bit harder to make these transitions look so fluid and so effortless. And he really executes that well. So I'm going to go with an A minus. A little bit of footwork to fix up, but not a lot.
Well done, Dean. Which actually leads us nicely because we looked at Kennedy's posing and the PCA front pose. This does lead us very nicely to a pose that you did earlier in the week, only 3 days ago. It was the power pose, and this is a
Yes.
pose we normally see quite a lot in PCA. So it does lead us nicely to go on to this. So I'm really keen to hear your thoughts in regards to executing the power pose.
Yeah, the crucial thing with the power pose is making sure that you are able to execute a full X frame. So that means what we typically see, the biggest mistake with the power pose is losing the shoulders and the top line. So you must make sure that when you, sorry, noisy dogs. When you place the hands into the waist, you need to make sure that you are not allowing the shoulders to internally rotate. We want to make sure that the shoulders stay at the highest, widest part of the frame. And also that the hand placement is in the center line of the frame as well. So not allowing the hands to sit too high or too low. They want to sit on the smallest part of the waist. And then obviously making sure that you've got external rotation through the lower half to make sure that you execute good quad sweep so we can see heaps of balance from the upper to lower.
Awesome. There we go. Well, look, guys, that is another episode of Beyond the Posing. And as you can see now, we're going to try to do, we're going to try to touch onto some other categories across different federations, but still, fit model is still a big thing. We still want to focus on that as well. But please, as always, drop a comment below. Let me know if you want your posing to be critiqued. Drop us a DM on the BTS page, or even more importantly, in fact, do this. Reach out to the Posing Pro, reach out to Emma Hyman. Plenty of videos on her page as well as the membership site. So there's plenty of details. Drop a comment below what you want to see next. Check out the bio for all the important links, and we'll see you guys next week.